and welcome to Wedding Angels, the show. I'm your host, Sylvia. Wedding Angels are wedding planners that help you to have the wedding of your dreams. And today we're discussing children at weddings. Very contentious issue. So join us as we speak on this issue. So today I'm joined by my wonderful guest hosts. I have Kelly, who's a celebrant, and we have Amy, who's a wedding dance consultant, and Evie, who's a planner. Now, when it comes to children at weddings, I love having children at weddings. I think it's great to have them there. I think it's a big family occasion. It's great for them to witness being at a wedding. And for me, from my culture, a wedding's all about the whole village being invited. So it's like, why wouldn't you have children? But I know not everybody feels that way. So I'm going to hand over to my guest hosts and have their views and get them to tell me what they think. So Kelly, what do you think about having children at weddings?
Hi Sylvia, I agree with you, to be fair. Personally, I don't have any issues with children being at weddings, but I totally understand the mentality behind couples not wanting the children there, or indeed the couple, their guests not wanting to bring their children. It is a massive topic and everyone's going to have their own opinions. And personally, I think it really is up to the couple to do exactly what they want to do. It is their day. And if they don't want children sort of running up and down the dance floor and, trying to wiggle their way in on photos and things like that, because these things are all real life, then I don't think there's any issue with them saying, please leave your children at home with somebody. I think what's really important is it needs to be addressed probably even before invites get sent out. I think manage people's expectations right from the very time you're telling them you are planning your wedding. And then I guess it's about being tactful, dealing with that in a really tactful way, just kind of putting over the reasons why. And let's face it, a lot of those reasons are going to be because it's very expensive to entertain those children. It's very expensive to feed more mouths. And I mean, if you're really thinking about it, it's boring for children. That's pretty much how I feel. Personally, it doesn't bother me, and I think weddings are a massive family celebration. But if you are a couple that decide you don't want them there, don't think there's a right or wrong to it. Do what you want to do, but communicate that really well with your guests and your family.
Thank you, Kelly. Amy.
Hi, so yeah, I really echo what Kelly said, to be honest with you. I think it's very much a numbers game. So, say you have 100 seats at your wedding and you invite all adults, you've kind of got 50 couples. But if they all bring their children, say they have 2 children, those 2 seats become 4 seats. And after the wedding day, when it's all calmed down and you're talking about all the memories, and you could realise that actually there were lots of people there who don't really have memories of your wedding day, because children, they don't appreciate these things just by their nature. It's not up their street. And you could end up with a bit of sadness that you didn't end up inviting people, adults who are very important to your life going forward, that weren't there on your special day because some little children were that don't even remember it. But then, of course, you always have the memories and the photographs. So it's just such a tricky one, isn't it? But I totally agree with Kelly. It's all about communication and letting people know in advance what your thoughts are. And there is no right or wrong. Whatever you want for your big day should be respected. And have a big think about it before you make those choices, and stick to your guns on what you want. Moving forward, and try not to be persuaded by other people's opinions, especially close family can be quite tricky. So if you have a lot of good communication at the start, then you should be all right going forwards.
Cool. And Evie, coming over to you. I know you've got a lot to say on this topic. She's ready to go.
Yeah, well, actually, to be honest, Kelly and Amy have covered, a lot of the points. Like, Kelly's saying just make it really clear from the beginning. I think that is so crucial, like even before the invites. If you're sending out a save the date, put it on there, or have those conversations with family. And I think Amy also raised like a really, really good point that I was going to say about sticking to your guns. Like make sure you and your partner are on the same page and that you're both giving the same message to friends and family. Because if one partner sort of slightly like ums and ahs, like a family member who wants their child there will probably like pounce on that and use it. And people, I get it, your kids are your world, but I'm a mum, my daughter's everything, but I don't want her there at weddings. Like my brother's wedding, I had to bring her because she was invited, but other weddings we have options. I'd rather leave her at home. Like Kelly said, like it's a long day, children get bored. It's actually unfair to put children in situations where they're going to be naughty and make it tough for them. And I think if you are going to have children at your wedding, you need to be really clear about who is invited. Like, is it just the bridal party? Is it just immediate family? Is it cousins' children? Is it everyone over the age of 12? Or, what is it? Is it children that can walk or babes in arms only? You just need to be really specific with everyone so that they can either sort out childcare for at the wedding, are they going to have a babysitter for the evening, or to sort out someone to have their child at home. But if you are having children at your wedding, you really need to, I think Kelly touched upon the expense, that you need to put things in place to make it easier for the kids, for the mums and dads, hire like a crash service. There's some amazing event, like nannies for events that you can hire, and they put up teepees and they look after the kids so the parents can relax and enjoy the day, but also know that if their child's upset or something, they're there and can go and pop in and see them without it disrupting the whole wedding. It kind of makes it easier for your guests as well, because they don't have to sort of sort out childcare. Their children are there. So, there are lots of things,
And you raise an important
but it's definitely the couple.
point about childcare. So that's one of the things. If you're going to tell people that they can't have children at the wedding, sometimes you could be adding an extra cost and an extra consideration where they have to find childcare. And it could be that their childcare is also going to the wedding. Because a lot of weddings are family events, so it can be really inconvenient for people to have to do that. Not everyone has that kind of find someone online and get them to book a date with them, get them to come and babysit your child, especially when it's a family wedding. So I mean, I don't know if anyone's got any views on that. Like, do you think that maybe couples should pay for the childcare costs? Or, like he said, should they say, bring your kids and we're going to arrange for someone to look after them? Or sometimes people might feel, well, if you say my kid can't come, you're really saying I can't come because I've got a kid.
This is the issue, isn't it? That is exactly how some people kind of interpret that message. It's like, oh well, my children are not welcome, and it's not about being welcome. I think it is very much about the entertainment aspect, about the cost aspect, and the fact that if these are your best friends and you want them to celebrate with you at your wedding, knowing if they've got a toddler running around that they're really not going to be that present with you. I've got children as well. Mine are grown up now, but it's really hard to enjoy yourself when you're trying to be a parent. But I think there's always going to be an argument around this happening at weddings for all the points that we've brought up, and childcare is going to be a massive reason. You consider how many people are travelling across the country or the world, not going to leave their children in Australia to come to your wedding for one night. I guess each and every couple is going to be very different, and if you're asking people not to bring their children, you must expect that there's going to be some people that simply won't be able to come to your wedding, and I guess you have to weigh that up.
And I think that's such a good point, actually, because if you invite someone and you don't invite their children, you as the couple have to be prepared that they may turn around and say no. I have seen examples where the bride and groom don't want children. 100% respect that. One of the guests has kindly sort of said, we can't sort out childcare, unfortunately won't be able to come. And then the bride and groom have taken that personally. And I just think you can't be like that. You can't, if you invite someone, they have every right to say no. It's an invitation. It's not a law that you have to turn up, you know. So I think, you know, the couples also have to be mutually understanding, you know, that parents might have to leave earlier because their kids are at home and the babysitter's got to go at 11, or, you know, things like this. But Sylvia definitely mentioned a really good point about when it's a family wedding, you know, because often like the first point of call for like childcare could be like grandparents and things. So if they're there, it does make it harder. I mean, obviously you might have like your other half, if it's like your family, might have your other half's family to look after your child, or it might be that you actually have them there in the hotel or at the venue and sort your own kind of childcare out. You know, it's hard. Like, who should pay the expense?
It really depends on whether within your friends and family you are the kind of people who have childcare outside of the family. I think that makes a big difference. If the childcare is within the family and you say no children allowed, I personally, and the people I know, that would not go down very well at all. But if you're the kind of people who you have childcare, people are happy to arrange for someone to come and look after their kids, like you said, at the hotel, things like that, then it can work. But I think it's important. Know your people is what I would say.
Yeah.
Oh.
I do agree that I do also think that it is the couple's day at the end of the day, and I think like just a slight inconvenience, or, you know, it's their day, and I think like they need to do what they want. Like personally, when I got married, I was actually a primary school teacher at the time, so I said no children. I was like, I see them every day. We literally had, you know, family children who could walk were in the bridal party, kind of like the royal family, where they have grown up enough kids in the you know, bridal party. But you know, like George and Charlotte were Harry and Meghan's bridesmaid and page boy, but Louis was a baby, he wasn't there. You know, that kind of thing. And you know, it caused upset in my own family. But
so you've been there, you've got first-hand experience. Well, I just want to go
huge family rift.
Well, I'm just going to go to a few comments that we have. So first of all, we have Michelle. So Michelle said, in general, if you invite specific children, you will offend other guests if you tell them they cannot bring theirs and then they see children at the wedding, though they will never say a word to you. That said, we are inviting kids because many VIPs wouldn't be able to attend if we didn't. And weddings in our circle are family events for everyone. If you don't invite kids, you're blacklisted from future family events. And then we also have one other comment from Katie. So Katie said, we are having an 18 and over wedding, with the exception of the flower girls in the wedding. We know too many parents who do not actually watch their children or let alone parent them. We decided not to have kids at the wedding. I think though that this is personal preference and possibly a decision based off how well behaved the children are. If like me, you know these kids are going to be a nightmare, then I'd opt out.
And that's actually a really good point too, isn't it? And I guess at this moment, I'm going to then put my professional head on as a celebrant. Conducting a ceremony in a room full of children is really difficult. Really difficult. I can't tell you the amount of ceremonies I've done that I am fully aware many people haven't been able to hear me properly because they're trying to appease their child sitting on their laps. And I'm just kind of like, why don't you leave the room? You know, why don't you leave the room? I've got usually a headset on, so I know that my voice is being heard, but they're so distracted by this child. And actually, sometimes the couple themselves are very distracted by the crying. So then if you're going to look at it from a professional aspect, a wedding is a little bit like a theatre show where you're trying to make sure everything goes really, really smoothly, and the minute you put children or animals into that mix, we all know it's open for all sorts of fun.
I think definitely if it's a ceremony, especially if the kid is crying, acting out, parents really should just step outside. I think that can definitely be managed.
But it's so tricky, isn't it? Because you only get one chance to have that ceremony once.
Exactly.
And if the children cry and the parent doesn't take them out, you may not even hear yourself saying your own vows, and that can be such a shame, can't it? It's such a gamble.
Yeah.
And I think Sylvia touched upon sort of them behaving in that comment. And, you know, like the safety aspect, you know, a lot of weddings happen in barns, marquees, you know, venues with ponds, lakes, water features, you know, and And there's this sort of mentality that, like, when there's a group of adults, no one person watches a child, and so they're kind of like, oh, you know, everyone's around, and then no one's watching them, and that's when accidents happen, you know. Like, yeah, as you say, like with your professional hat on as like a planner, you know, thinking of logistics and all of that, it's just, you know, the risks sometimes, it's just, yeah, you've got to weigh up, is your venue safe for children, really?
Well, we also took a poll, so I have the results of the poll here, which were really surprising to me because only 7% of people said yes, all children should be invited to weddings. We had 24% say only children of immediate family, and then 12% said no, it should be adults only, and the majority, 57%, said it depends on the couple's preference, which is pretty much what has been said here. It depends on couple's preference, and it's a lot about communication. So let people know way ahead of time. And Evie, I think he touched on a good point where you said the guests shouldn't be offended if it's children only, but also the couple shouldn't be offended if people decide not to come because they can't bring their children.
Yes, good points.
Right, so we're going to wrap up. So ladies, I'm going to come to each of you and just have some closing words from you, some words of advice for anyone in this situation. So Kelly.
Words of advice. I think it really is go for what's going to make you happy. Like you say, you get to do this once. It costs an awful lot of money to have a wedding in most cases. But please be tactful about it. You know, Evie, you said it did cause quite a rift in your family, and it will cause arguments. But if you can try to be really tactful and mindful of not hurting people just for the sake of hurting them either, you know, just have really honest conversations, try to keep your cool, but do stick to your guns. Yeah,
great. Evie?
Yeah, just really echoing what Kelly says about communicate really clearly, and stick to your guns basically. And I think just go with your gut, know, like, you know, what you want for your day. You just and you've touched upon it, Sylvia, as well, about saying, like, knowing your family and friends and things. And I would like to say that at my wedding, 99% of parents are overjoyed not to have to bring their children with them. So, you know, just the odd one, but there we are.
And Amy?
So I would say make your decision, commit to it, communicate it, and stick to your guns, and don't be swayed. And just be mindful that if you are kind of persuaded by some people in your wedding party, you kind of have to think about everybody else, because if you let one couple bring their children on the day, that could cause a rift between all the other people that have arranged their childcare to your wishes. So it really is about sticking to your guns and knowing what you want for your day and making sure that happens for you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, ladies. So there you have it. So whatever you decide to do, we hope we have helped you a little bit to make some decisions. So thank you for joining us, and join us next time.